If I could go back in time and start fly fishing again, there's a few things I would have bought way sooner. These are things that I've picked up with time and understanding and just making mistakes in general. But let's go through the list of things that I think are fly fishing essentials that I didn't know about when I first started, but I do now. And this list might help you catch more fish too. So let's chat about it. Okay, let's start with something that made a massive difference to how fish responded to my flies. Leader material. For way too long, I used cheap nylon or whatever I could really grab off the shelf that was quite low end, quite cheap. But once I switched to premium fluorocarbon, everything changed. It's not only a better, easier material to use, but it sinks faster. It also just simply is easier to fish with. When you're casting extremely cheap fluorocarbon or cheap nylon, it in the air can spin very easily. Do you find that your dropper knots and your droppers in general spin around your cast? That's generally because of quite cheap, flimsy fluorocarbon or nylon. Premium fluorocarbon helps you catch way more fish. It improves fish confidence. If under the water, if you have a look between cheap fluorocarbon and really expensive fluorocarbon, you cannot see premium fluorocarbon. Specifically, Seaguar Grand Max is my favorite. Quite expensive, but it's amazing quality. It is fantastic quality for improving fish confidence. There are fish that I cannot catch on Sight Free or other brands that you can catch on Seaguar Grand Max. It's insane, the difference, and something that I didn't really pick up until quite recently, to be honest. So that is one thing that I've changed, having been more advanced at fly fishing, but now would never go back. I would never change. Premium fluorocarbon is a #1 change that you can make to improve your catch rate and just in general have less tangles, more fun while you're fishing. Premium fluorocarbon, #1 essential on this list. Now, you've probably heard me talk about mud or line degreaser in the past few videos, and that's one simple thing that I wish I started using way earlier. Mud or degreaser, not only when fishing dries, but when pulling or fishing nymphs, it's a de-shiner. So when you're fishing any sort of nylon, if it's in sunny conditions, I will apply mud and degreaser just simply to, again, improve fish confidence. Sometimes a nylon or fluorocarbon rather will catch sunlight when it's under the water. If you apply degreaser, it won't catch as much sunlight. So you're going to be able to fish nymphs and pulling tactics in the height of summer much more effectively with a bit of degreaser under the water. Now, when it comes to fishing dries, obviously, mud really is an essential. You're going to be able to cast your dry out and immediately be fishing it perfectly because your line's not going to be sitting on the top of the water next to your dry fly. If you find that you're fishing dries, if your nylon or your fluorocarbon is sitting on the surface next to your dry fly, that is a complete turn off for fish when they're cruising underneath that dry fly. So degreaser, second on this list, and an essential must have that I wish I bought way sooner. Now, a few people have been asking what degreaser I use, what mud I use. I actually use a homemade blend using Fuller Earth soap powder, but you can actually buy this, or I'll do a video on how to make this at home. It's very simple and easy. You can buy this Fuller Earth's mud from Full and Mill as well. They make the exact same one. And if you want to go and buy this, My Fish and Flies have it on their website. So go and check that out. #3 essential change to make was going from normal switch reels to cassette reels. Cassette fly reels are unbelievable. When I bought a cassette fly reel, I said to myself, why didn't I do this sooner? If you fish different lines a lot like I do, floaters, intermediates, sink tips, a cassette system is a total game changer. You don't need multiple spools or different full reels of line. You can switch between lines in seconds and carry everything in one tidy little situation in a fly box or in your main fishing box. It saves space, it saves time, it saves money in the long run, and honestly, if you're swapping to just full reels a lot, then an upgrade like this can save you so much time. You can be fishing in the water far longer than if you're using a full switch system. So a cassette reel system, so much better. And if you want me to find out more on that, I can do a longer video on what I have in my box. I'll be doing a full what's in my gear for 2025 video fairly soon anyway, so keep an eye out for that. But a full cassette system, Unbelievable game changer. Number 4 is a big one. High quality flies. We've all been there. When you first start, you use cheap packet flies, and to be honest, there's nothing better to get you into fly fishing because flies can sometimes be confusing. So if you're using cheap flies to get into it, by all means keep plugging away with them. But one thing that will help you massively is changing to higher quality flies. They swim better, they fish better in the water. Those cheap flies just don't swim right. They might look the part out of the water, but in the water they fish poorly, and that costs you a lot of takes with fish. I've had way more consistent success using my own flies or tried and tested patterns from proper tyres. That doesn't always mean expensive, just quality flies in the right proportions and materials. So that means that they fish properly. Now, if you want to shortcut to good flies, check out myfishingflies.com again. They've got loads of proven patterns and tried tied materials. So you can use Vice Flies at checkout as well for 10% off if you want to go and check them out, and it supports the channel too. So get some high quality flies in the mix, ones that you're confident with. That's a huge game changer for anyone that is currently feeling unconfident with their fly fishing, or just feeling like you should be getting more takes when you're seeing fish, etc. High quality flies is probably one of the main things that you can change to use better. Number 5 is the last one, and is topic specific for right now, because recently in a lot of my videos I've been fishing dry flies a lot. And this is something that people ask me about a lot, is how are your dry flies staying up for so long? And the secret is not magic, it's mucilin. I treat my dry flies just before fishing with mucilin, a very light amount on the CDC or a hackle. You just brush the mucilin really lightly, so you don't want to use a lot at all. And that keeps them up all day long. So just massaging it in. In fact, what I like to do is take the top off of my mucilin, rub the CDC in the mucilin a little bit, and then rub it somewhere else that's dry, and that kind of removes any excess that won't go onto the water surface. So simply doing that keeps the fly dry all day long. All it takes is a little bit of a waft, or I'm going to start using some of the things that people have suggested in the comments, using paper towel or microfiber, and we're going to test those out and see which one's the best at drying dry flies. But the mucilin itself is the best part about keeping a dry fly dry for as long as possible, and is my number 1 tip for dry fly fishing in general. So that's the short list for now. The gear that I should have bought way sooner. Nothing fancy, just the things that quietly improve your chances at catching fish and make your life easier while on the water. So let me know in the comments, what's one bit of kit that you've really enjoyed and you should have got earlier for your fly fishing journey? And if this video's helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more fishing stuff when that comes out. Catch you next one, guys. Tight lines.